Welcome to Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships create that tapestry of extraordinary experience. And on today's video, we're going to be doing a part two to the video series that I done before. And the one that I done before was talking about Black men, college, and legacy. And I got into why trade skills build more than college degrees. And I got a lot of great, excellent reviews and a lot of great comments from that particular video. So from that, made me want to even go a little bit deeper into the topic. And what I want to talk about as a part two of this is looking into reclaiming the family legacy through trade. And what that means is that legacy is going to start at home. That's how trade skills build better men, families, and communities. And it starts with us Black men. Now, first and foremost, the content that I produce on the channel is definitely for bringing families together, regardless of your background. But I specifically speak on Black issues that happen within the community. As being a Black father, these are things that other Black men need to actually see. Indeed, it could help out other people. But when you hear so much in the media, when you hear so much with different stories of how the degradation from a cultural perspective of what everybody is talking about, you begin to realize, hmm, there is something wrong. How can we get this? How can we change the narrative to make sure that it fits us in a way where people can start to think more positive? And here's the thing: before we can lead a family, we have to be able to lead ourselves. And that's a little bit deep right there because it's almost like a self reflection upon oneself. But we cannot, Black men, under any circumstances, we cannot keep waiting on systems or saviors. We can't keep waiting on that. Black men have to reclaim the role of builder and protector at home first. If you're not familiar with my content, I talk a lot about family. I talk a lot about husband, wife, and children in the home and starting to build that legacy. But you have to take care of home first. You have to make up your own bed first. When I brought in talking about the points of trade and skill, what I was talking about with that is the trade skills from what our forefathers have done is those have equated to legacy tools that they have built where they have basically were able to go to, whether if it was an apartment, a condo, or whatever, but the old school houses way out in the country. And I can remember that as a child, seeing how my great grandfather built things, provided a place where his family could rest their head, provided a place where families can have the family reunions. And we still remember that to this day. Let's get real deep into this, people, because a trade is not a hustle. It's not just a hustle. It is a skill that is going to be able to feed the family that you are looking to have or the family that you already have. It will definitely fund a future for the young people that are within your family and free a man. This is deep. There was a comment on my last video. Somebody said, "You know what? This hit me deep. This could cut me real deep right here." And that is the purpose of the content because ownership over employment is you have the ability to be able to work for yourself to some capacity. And especially if you have sons, this is giving you the ability to teach your sons and serve your community in a better way other than bouncing a basketball, other than being an athlete, other than being an entertainer. Like we are actually getting back to the roots of that stability within the culture itself. Because here's the thing, stability should be over status all day, every day. Because our families, people, the way that the culture is today is flex over families. But the thing is, our families don't need a flex. What our families need is a foundation. I could think back as a child growing up, my great grandfather provided a foundation that the family could build off of in terms of how we had our family reunions and his relationship with my great grandma, and even before them, even my great grandparents. And I can go generations back. And it just seems that we are missing that because we're so much more in a materialistic society right now. We have to find a better way to deal with this, and we're missing that foundation. How do we get that foundation back? Well, one positive step that we can take is mother and father got to get along. We have to be very intentional, women and men, of who we having children by. Because see, everything is all good when you're just dating, you don't have any kids, and you're dating, and then the second that a baby comes along, and everybody want to run a separate direction or be missing. And that is a problem because they didn't do that stuff back then. Think about how your family reunions were right now. Are your family reunions, were they better back then before our whole social media kick? Or are they better right now? Because see, everybody want to show up in the nice cars. Everybody want to show up flashy. But see, the family reunions back then, it was about family. That's about us coming together, you getting to know your cousins. See, most people only know their household. They only know the people that's within their house. A lot of people can't even tell you their cousins in a different state. See, the time that I grew up in, we knew where our cousins were, at least majority of our family. We can literally get up, and right now, I can get up and go to the other side of the US and know I got a family there because of how I was brought up during the time that we are brought up in. And see, family reunions definitely should be reviewing the history, teaching the history to the younger people. And you will see at some point, I don't care who you are, I'm willing to bet that if you look back in your family history, that you're going to be able to see at some point that your grandfather, your grandmother, somebody was tying some things and holding things together and making sure everybody got to know who they were, making sure there was some legacy building there. But we have to most definitely keep the families together. So we have to be intentional of who we having kids by people. We need to fix that in the Black community. I'm not talking about nobody else community. I'm not talking about white folks. I'm not talking about Asian folks. I'm talking specifically about the Black community. Is we got a problem. It needs CPR. We have to be able to fix our home. If the men can focus on the young men and provide them proper guidance, set them straight, make sure they are following exactly where they're supposed to be going, telling them the truth, being honest, that can be fixed. Fellas, let the aunties, let the ladies, let the grandmas, let them handle the women. See, a man cannot teach a woman how to be a wife. A woman cannot teach a man how to be a husband. What happens is they have to see it. See, some of us grew up in a time where we were able to see our great grandparents, our great grandparents, our grandparents go through the relationship 40, 50, 60 years. Now people almost last a year. So they're seeing single homes, single households. And what is there to look forward to? Think about this for a second. It's going to take a change. We are in critical condition. We need the help. And when I'm saying that we need the help, meaning Black men is going to have to step up and take the helms back. That's the only way. That's the only option that we have out now. Now, when you look at stability, stability over status, is your home stable? How stable do you want your home? How stable do you want your kids to be? See, let's get real deep into this because this is touching somebody out there. See, our families, we don't need no more flexes, no more flex. We need to be focusing on that foundation because a steady man with a trade is more powerful than a flashy man with no plan. Young men, in other words, stop paying attention to the folks who are flashy. See, many of you will down a man who is a driver of a trash truck, but you like the man over here who is just super flashy, want to buy everything and all that stuff. But when you look at your great grandparents, were they as flashy as the men are today? Were they more at home? Were they out and about trying to figure out how to get things and tie things together? But women and children are going to thrive in environments led by men who build, fix, and lead. That is a fact. We can't have it no other way. But the power of just the presence of a black man in the home is young boys don't need to be perfect. They need you to be present, wanting to be there. And here's the thing, showing them how to handle tools, speak with respect, handle business, and take care of the home. That's how you raise a legacy minded generation. But see, this type of content is not drama filled. So most people don't like it. But if I'm going around and traveling around and I'm seeing things out of order, I definitely have to say something about it because we must model what we preach and don't just say be a man to a young man out there. They don't want to hear that. Show them what that looks like. You have to show them what that looks like because how we love, how we serve, and how we lead in our homes becomes the blueprint for our sons and our daughters. Because fathers bleed, the daughters are looking at you. The daughter is looking at how you treat her mom. And if you disrespect her mom, she grows up seeing that, she's going to think that the next man that comes to her when she gets older, if he abuses her or he talks crazy to her or he doesn't do things a specific way, she's going to think that is the way. And it's not. But just as well as the impact that you have on your sons, it's going to have an impact on your daughters as well. So to the fathers out there who have daughters, they got a lot of work to do because not only do they have to protect her, but they're gonna have to school her on what to look for in that young man. So what we're hoping is that the mothers, the aunties, and the females in the family are guiding the young lady on how to be and carry herself as a young lady, as a woman. What we're hoping is the men, the grandfathers, the great uncles are pouring into the young man and teaching him how to be a gentleman, how to be a man. And when that young man and young woman get together, they start dating and they're looking for marriage, that they both understand full force of what their responsibilities are. It's that simple. That's how you build the foundation. And then if they have kids, they're pouring that same energy of what they learned from their elders into their children. And just keeps going down the line. That's it. We We have to stop waiting for permission to lead our households. We don't need permission from anyone. Too many men are waiting until everything is right to lead. But you start where you are, whether you're on the back of a trash truck, whether you're building and doing construction, whether you're in an office somewhere punching a 9 to 5, you start where you are. This is necessary. And even if it's small, even if it's hard, start leading your household now. And notice I hadn't even talked about money and how much the man makes or how much the woman makes. I'm not even talking about that. All this other stuff is basic knowledge. The money, that's for a later time, later topic, later conversation. But just pay attention to what I'm talking about here because we need this wake up call. We need the CPR. Black men need to put their hands on their household, and it's time to give it CPR because we're getting made a fool of across social media. Every time you turn around, there is a story about how men are up to no good. But how you combat that is instead of telling people what you're going to do it. That's where we are. And we're not just saving ourselves. This isn't just about making money, it's about reclaiming our identity as builders. Build, build, build. Because when a black man steps into his role, the whole family, it shifts. And it shifts away because the next generation arises. And if you don't look at anything else today, just know this and know this 100%. Legacy starts within your home. And whether you take the trade skills or not, those are going to build better men, better families, and better communities. So, like, listen, subscribe to the channel, people. Lifestyle by SK, where wine, cigars, and relationships create that tapestry of extraordinary experience. You all have a good one.